And the vast majority of Canadians surveyed believe that AI represents the extension, not the extinction, but the extension of professional capability in healthcare. So 72% preferred both AI and the radiologist examining their scans, and 73% are in favor of investments in AI within medical imaging. So certainly, the patient community supports it, and everyone's looking forward to say, what can this really do to enhance patient care in Canada?
Not everyone makes the news, but behind every growth-driving experience, product, and transformation are experts who shape the outcome. Welcome to Behind the Growth, a podcast for digital leaders and those aspiring to become one. Each episode features a candid conversation with a remarkable individual. Join us as we focus on their struggles, wins, and lessons learned you won't find anywhere else. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Growth, where we dive deep into the stories shaping the future of business, technology, and society. I'm your host, Imran Mia, and today we're venturing into the rapidly evolving world of healthcare technology. We have the privilege of hosting Mike Hamilton, President of GE Healthcare Canada, a leader at the forefront of integrating AI and digital transformation in healthcare. Our conversation today promises to shed light on how these technological advancements is revolutionizing patient care, focusing on ensuring desired patient outcomes while exceeding patient experience goals. Mike, welcome to the show. And before we delve into our main discussion, perhaps you could give us a quick overview and intro about yourself and your role at GE.
Thank you, Imran. It's great to see you again. And it's great to be here on the Behind the Growth podcast. As you mentioned, I'm Mike Hamilton. I'm president of GE Healthcare in Canada. A bit of background on GE Healthcare. We're a $19.6 billion global business with 51,000 colleagues worldwide. And GE Healthcare spun out of the legacy company, General Electric, in early 2023. So we're now a standalone, publicly traded company entirely focused on healthcare. Myself, I've worked in healthcare and medtech for all of my career. Most of that time has been here in Canada, but I have spent time internationally. And I joined GE Healthcare in late 2022, just before we spun off from the parent company, really to lead the Canadian region as we look to help advance the healthcare system here in Canada and make sure that the technology it utilizes is focused on advancing patient care.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that background. So, Mike, perhaps could you also start us off by giving us an overview of how you think AI and digital transformation are currently being integrated into healthcare services in Canada specifically, and perhaps across the board?
Sure. It's an exciting time in healthcare. We've got lots of challenges in the Canadian healthcare system, but in Canada, the integration of AI and digital transformation into healthcare is seeing big advancements in some areas. And, we still require further work in others. Some of the notable achievements, we made really good progress around digitizing health records. And we've seen progress in the adoption of telemedicine and virtual care. A lot of that was driven, not surprisingly, by the pandemic. And we're also seeing early applications of AI algorithms throughout healthcare. Obviously, I'm closest to where it impacts, our business, and particularly that's in automating radiology workflows. But examples of AI use in radiology today include, automatic image quality enhancement, a lot of focus around protocoling within scanning and, optimizing patient positioning through cameras and so forth, ultimately leading to higher quality imaging, faster scans, which is better for the patient, as well as often better for the image, and then better patient comfort. But as you look forward, experts acknowledge that, there are broader opportunities and we need to overcome a number of challenges before we can take full advantage of what the technology can bring. So for example, our healthcare system is still very largely reliant on legacy systems. We have regulatory complexities. AI is a very fast-moving area. And I would argue that the regulatory system is having a hard time keeping up with how quickly that's moving. Probably not just in healthcare, probably in all areas.
Right.
There are patient privacy concerns and also shortages in the cybersecurity workforce. And, even in the past several months, we've heard about major cybersecurity breaches within the healthcare space in Canada. So that's a big concern. And all of these things together kind of complicate or make that journey towards full digital transformation more challenging. But one interesting note, Nanos Research did a poll in late 2023, and they surveyed Canadians about the use of AI in healthcare, specifically in radiology. And the vast majority of Canadians surveyed believe that AI represents the extension, not the extinction, but the extension of professional capability in healthcare. So 72% preferred both AI and the radiologist examining their scans, and 73% are in favor of investments in AI within medical imaging. So certainly, the patient community supports it, and everyone's looking forward to say, what can this really do to enhance patient care in Canada?
Absolutely. I love the analogy you referenced there, extension, not extinction. I think that's precisely right. And in AI and digital transformation in almost every other vertical are making huge leaps in terms of, its ability to drive progress. But when it comes to healthcare, maybe let's talk a little bit about how this will impact the patient's outcome, because that's the end goal, right? In terms of their patient's experience and the outcomes. So maybe share an example where you think it's specifically making a difference.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Imran. So here at GE Healthcare, our mission globally is to create a future where healthcare has no limits. And it's a pretty aspirational goal, but AI and digital innovation are, of course, a big part of that pursuit. So when we think of how AI and digital technologies can impact patient outcomes, I think of a potential in a number of different areas. Automation of tasks, particularly those low-value tasks where we have a highly capable healthcare practitioner or clinician who is doing low-value work. So we want to move some of that work or automate that work so that they can really be operating at the top of their scale of practice. We see improvements in diagnostic accuracy, ultimately leading towards assistance in disease prediction and management. And both of these will ultimately enhance both patient and staff experiences. So using the example of AI in imaging, AI is primarily applied to a single image or a series of prior images for accurate diagnosis, enabling those images to be very clear for the radiologist to provide their findings. So improving clinical outcomes relies heavily on clinicians being able to obtain the right image, getting it as quickly as possible, which helps the patient, and also with the lowest radiation dose during patient exams. And so most of the equipment we provide today in Canada, and when I say equipment, think of, for example, a CT or an MRI imaging machine. These technologies have AI-powered solutions embedded in the technology today. And these tools speed up exam times and help the clinician provide more accurate diagnosis. As I think we have really long wait times in medical imaging in Canada, and the imaging process itself on an individual patient basis can be slow. So frequently scans are repeated, and interpretation and clinical decisions can have high variability between different clinicians. So the adoption of AI supports patient-centric care by really unlocking capacity issues through faster scans, improving patient flow and transitions in care, and really reducing the burden on our stretched and limited health human resources. And as we look forward, another way AI is leading to improved patient outcomes is through personalized treatment planning in specific disease pathways. So for example, think of oncology or cardiac care.
Right.
So at GE Healthcare, we really envision a future that utilizes AI to create a cohesive mosaic or sort of fabric of all the findings for each patient that incorporates multimodal data from medical imaging, doctor's notes, lab results, maybe genomic data, and multiple other medical data sources. And we're focused on developing solutions that will combine this multimodal data really to support the analysis of disease progression and assessing that, and not only providing a more precise diagnosis, but also a much more personalized treatment plan as we go forward.
Absolutely. I think when you look at all the applications or use cases of AI, for example, healthcare is one where you could immediately see the benefits of using AI. And I wondered, you referenced the patient community also supports leveraging, the digital transformation in AI. But in terms of their expectations, how do you see digital transformation and AI really meeting and exceeding patients' expectations?
So, maybe I can talk about one specific example, and it's using the example of machine learning, which we've already talked about, but in medical imaging. I'd like to focus on something that one of our solutions we use in CT scanning, and we call this True Fidelity. So our AI-powered technology on our CT devices is called True Fidelity, and it's really revolutionizing cardiac care by providing clinicians with highly detailed, real-time images of the heart. And so by harnessing these advanced AI algorithms, True Fidelity improves image clarity, enabling much more accurate diagnoses of cardiac conditions. So you can much more clearly visualize cardiac structures and abnormalities. And clinicians ultimately end up making more informed treatment decisions, which lead to better patient outcomes. So whether you're diagnosing heart disease or maybe having an image-guided intervention, monitoring treatment effectiveness, True Fidelity's imaging capabilities really give the clinician the power to deliver that personalized care. But the only reason they're doing that is ultimately to enhance the patient's outcome, the treatment that they're getting, and the quality of life. And so we've introduced a similar technology called Air Recon DL in our MRI technology, which also significantly shortens exam acquisition time for a better patient experience, but at the same time improving the image quality, so for better diagnosis. So I don't know if that exactly answers your question, but I think those are examples where whatever we can do to help the clinician ultimately helps the patient. And AI is one of those applications that we really see this in real time for both audiences.
Absolutely. You referenced a couple of products that are being rolled out from GE. And GE Healthcare, of course, is known for its innovation. Are there any other products or services that I know you have like a 4-pronged strategy or 4-pillar approach to go to market. Are there any specific product services that you want to highlight that are, in your opinion, really making a difference?
Yeah. So, I've talked about imaging, but we actually have multiple. GE Healthcare is kind of set up with 4 different pillars. So medical imaging is one of them. Another one of our businesses is ultrasound. Another one we call patient care solutions, which is patient monitoring and a lot of critical care equipment that would be used in an ICU or an operating room environment. And then we also have another business, which is actually a pharmaceutical business, which is focused on radiopharmaceuticals, which are used often in conjunction with imaging to really provide more precise and accurate diagnosis of specific disease states. So those are the 4 pillars. Really across all of those different businesses, digital transformation and AI is playing a big role. Most of what I've talked about is in imaging, but if we think of ultrasound as an example as well, we recently acquired a company called Caption Health, and they have developed technology which really, it's AI driven, but what it does is it almost provides real-time guidance for a clinician as they're conducting an ultrasound. So you can have an ultrasound technician or a sonographer who might only have a couple of years experience, but the scans that they are getting with the assistance of Caption Health, this AI tool, are as high quality as a sonographer who might have 20 years of experience. And so that's a tremendous help, especially given some of the challenges we've got around shortage of health human resources, so that it really is shortening that experience or learning curve for clinicians. And so that's a great example out of ultrasound. We've got similar examples all the way across our business, which are making a real difference today.
Right. That's a great segue into my next question. You briefly touched upon the challenge of human resources. Given that we're dealing with legacy systems in healthcare and there's a lot of innovation happening, and all businesses, including GE, would have had to pivot at some point to make sure that you're getting ready for the future. What are some of the biggest hurdles as president or as an organization that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
I think for me, it all comes back to our customers, and not just for me, for the whole company. We're here really to serve our customers and their patients. And so when I think of challenges, I always kind of look at the healthcare sector as a whole. And what are the challenges that the healthcare sector is facing? Because that sector, their challenges are our challenges. Right. And so we've already talked about the fact that health systems are facing staffing shortages, worker burnout, which was exacerbated during the COVID-19 pandemic, data overload without sufficient insights. So, clinicians today have so much data coming to them, and it's very, very difficult for them to incorporate that all to sufficiently give them insight for whether it's prescribing or making treatment decisions. And then also there's the need for efficient disease tracking and management, because as our population ages and people live longer, the challenges on our healthcare system just keep increasing. So we believe that healthcare is at this kind of tipping point, one where medical breakthroughs and technological innovations are converging to overcome many of these challenges. And so I'll use the example of a hospital and how much data that it produces. And so it's American data. I don't have the Canadian data, but the average US hospital produces 50 petabytes of data per year. Wow. And to put that in perspective, what's a petabyte? You would need to take 4,000 digital photos every single day over the span of an average person's lifetime to generate 1 petabyte of data. And so if you think of that amount of data times 50, that's what a hospital generates per day, or per year, I'm sorry. And about 97% of that data today remains unused. But that is rapidly changing. And so with the prevalence of electronic medical records, advances in AI and machine learning that we've talked about, big data analytics and cloud connectivity, all of this data is going to be able to be put to work, which will fundamentally drive a change across our healthcare systems. And so, one of my challenges is looking at how our business is going to change in the future, and how do we make sure that we are enabling our customers to take advantage of this technological change, and also for us to build a business around it where we can monetize that. So ultimately, this kind of mosaic, or what we call data fabric, is going to be powered by AI, and it will provide a complete picture of individuals' health, population health, and really allow the delivery of more personal and precise care, and also significantly reduce the burden on the health human resources so they can focus on what they do best, which is patient care. Obviously, these challenges aren't going to be solved overnight or with a single product, but companies like GE Healthcare and health systems around the globe are thinking about, how do we solve these problems together with this new technology and these new ways of delivering care, augmenting processes that ultimately will ease the load on clinicians and hospitals and clinics and so forth.
Yeah, I guess my next question, you talked about healthcare professionals, et cetera. I wondered, how important is it the technology providers and healthcare professionals collaborate to achieve the best outcomes for their patients?
It's a great question. In fact, I think it's at the heart of everything we do. Healthcare is such a dynamic and multifaceted field where it really requires, in order for technology to be useful, it requires the fusion of clinical expertise with that technology so that we can actually propel an advancement forward. And so by closely collaborating with healthcare professionals, we gain invaluable insights into the challenges that they face daily, as well as, what they're required to do on a day-to-day basis is changing. And collaboration enables us to develop solutions which are much more tailored to enhance their clinical workflows and elevate patient outcomes. But also, it's as much about making the clinician's life better or easier so that they can focus on what they do best. And, it's not only about having technologies that are innovative, but they have to be practical and impactful in a real world healthcare setting, which is why, at the end of the day, it comes down to this ongoing dialogue, cooperation, and collaboration where we work together to foster continuous improvement and continue to innovate together. And that's how we can ultimately achieve our shared objective of providing the highest quality care to patients worldwide.
100%. Looking ahead, Mike, what do you believe the future holds for AI and digital transformation in healthcare? And are there any emerging technologies that we should particularly be excited about?
Okay. Well, I've already kind of talked about this multimodal data and the amount of data coming together so that we can actually use it all to generate a meaningful insight. So we envision this future that utilizes AI to create, out of all these data sources, this cohesive fabric or mosaic of all the findings for each patient. And AI foundation models, which, will be built coming out of this, they hold immense potential in healthcare, enabling, physicians to actually interact with the model through spoken language, as opposed to having to sit and read pages and pages in a chart. It will streamline clinical decision-making. It will enhance patient care. But in the future, AI models will not only support real-time clinical decision-making, but, in all probability will possess the capability to begin to predict patient health outcomes years in advance. I was even just reading this morning an article about a model that is predicting the appearance of breast cancer 5 years ahead of time just through an AI model, which has been applied to existing mammograms. So this is moving very quickly. And so by identifying individuals at risk of developing conditions, whether it's cancer or other things, these models will suggest proactive patient pathways, tests, interventions, various different things that will prevent the progression to advanced stages. So mortality rates ideally would be lower. And over time, healthcare costs actually are avoided or go down because you're catching things earlier.
Yeah, I think in specifically speaking about Canada, the cost of healthcare is just going through the roof. And with all these advances, I think we are absolutely going to see a lot of efficiencies and the desired outcomes that the patients look for. My next question, Mike, is about folks who are in this field, healthcare professionals, who are looking to integrate more AI and digital solutions into their practice. What advice would you give them?
So, super important question. And I kind of look at a healthcare professional and bring the same model that GE Healthcare is bringing to when we develop products, is around working backwards from the actual need of your customer. So in our case, it's the clinician, but from a clinician or a healthcare professional's perspective, it's the patient. And so work backwards from the patient's needs and really determine where can AI or other digital solutions really address key challenges in your practice. That might be workflow optimization. It might be where there is not a high degree of accuracy in diagnosis. So looking for these areas where there's data available, and if we could apply an AI model or something, we might actually improve diagnostic accuracy. So that would be kind of this first point around identifying specific needs. The second one is really around collaboration, which we've already talked about, and collaborating with trusted partners. One of the challenges with AI is there are a lot of really innovative companies, and often they're small entities, who are developing wonderful AI tools, but how do you actually scale those tools so that they're available on a regional, national, or even a global scale? So scaling AI deployment and driving technological innovation necessitates collaboration, not only with trusted technology vendors like GE Healthcare, but also with other healthcare institutions. and really tapping into a diverse network of partners, including others who can offer valuable insights and share their lessons learned. So you can develop tailored solutions that don't just address your own practice's needs, but you can avoid some common pitfalls and actually maximize the impact across multiple centers' needs. So that's something that we've learned, and also a number of our customers, as they've developed AI tools, they've learned themselves kind of through the school of hard knocks. And then finally, the third one, it is really around educating and training staff. AI, even 18 months ago, AI was kind of a scary term for me. I didn't know what AI was. And obviously, here I am now on a podcast talking about how AI is impacting healthcare. Never envisioned myself doing this, but it's really investing in comprehensive training to ensure that staff members and healthcare providers can effectively utilize the AI and digital tools that are available to them so that they do enhance patient care and operational efficiency. And that's one of the challenges that we've got in our healthcare system today, with so many people just stretched to the limit. To find the time to actually invest in training and in skills improvement around something like AI. Many of the clinicians say, I'm too busy looking after my patients to actually kind of step out and figure out how to do this better. And I think that's where, we can probably do a better job of helping, but we really do need to be looking forward and figuring out together how we educate and train staff, not just the ones who are coming up through the education system, but those who are out practicing today. And these steps will ultimately help integrate AI and digital solutions into one's practice successfully. But it's not an easy task. It takes change, and we all know change is difficult.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for that wonderful advice. As we wrap up today's enlightening conversation with Mike Hamilton, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Mike for sharing his invaluable insights and experiences with us. It's clear that the intersection of AI, digital transformation, and healthcare holds an incredible promise for not only enhancing patient experiences, but also in achieving remarkable patient outcomes. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in behind the growth. Today's discussion has underscored the pivotal role that technology plays in shaping the future of healthcare, a future that is innovative, patient-centered, and full of potential. As we continue to navigate these exciting advancements, let's remain curious, open-minded, and supportive of the transformative changes that lie ahead. Until next time, this is Imran Mia, wishing you all a healthy, inspired, and growth-filled day ahead. Thanks very much, Mike.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Growth. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow along on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. This podcast is brought to you by Mobile Live, a team of digital experts bringing intelligence and efficiency to how businesses sell, serve, and save. For more episodes of Behind the Growth, please visit mobilelive.ca/podcast.